नमस्ते, हमेशा खुश रहो बिटिया. This is JV and Dr. Lily Trivedi, and today I am going to give a lecture for BSCBED Botany 4th semester. Paper is Anatomy, Ecology and Evolution, and the topic is ecological factors and edaphic factors. So today we are going to take into view the edaphic factors. What are edaphic factors? They are soil factors. They play a significant role in determining the nature of vegetation. So they are more responsible for the local difference between plant communities to be found in great climatic region. So in one climatic region, if we find a difference in the plant, it is due to the edaphic factors. The plant depends upon the soil for what? For anchorage, water, minerals. So thereby these soil factors affect the vegetation. Now, how do they affect the vegetation? The germination of the seed, the size and vigor of the plant, the root system, the formation of wood in the stem, and the susceptibility to plant pathogens, flower formation, setting of fruits, etc. On these all, the soil has an effect. Now, what is soil? Now, in the wider sense, soil is defined as a part of the earth crust which bears the plant life. So in this definition, the lichens which cover the soil solid rock, or the soil in the forest humus, or the mud in the pool of water is also soil. Now, the soil profile, texture, the air in the soil water, the soil temperature, the nutrients in the soil, they also affect the vegetation of the area. Now, if we come to the soil profile. Now, as we all know, you have studied also, the soil is made up of different layers and they are called soil horizon. So the colors are also changing in the soil horizon. The sequence of horizon from the surface downward is called soil profile. So what does the soil profile consist of? It consists of horizon A. It is the topmost soil in which the decomposed body of plants, animals undergo humification, and thereby they are that portion of soil in which the roots of the plants are embedded in this zone. After the soil horizon A, we come to horizon B. Now this is known as subsoil, or it is almost clay soil. Here the roots are poorly developed and it is composed of minerals soil. So the organic compounds have been converted to inorganic compounds by the process of mineralization, and therefore it is called mineral soil. So horizon B appears as a dark band, and the soluble materials formed in horizon A are leached downwards with the flow of water and deposited in horizon B. After horizon B, we come to the horizon C. Now it is the bottom of the soil profile, which represents unmodified parent material in the form of weathered rocks. Now in below this zone is present the hard rocks. Now the soil profile and the relative thickness of these horizons differ with climate and topography. For example, in grassland soil, humification is rapid, but mineralization is slow. The fourth layer after horizon C is horizon R. It is the lowermost layer of the soil. It is made of bedrocks and there is no weathering. So these were the 4 layers of the soil profile. Now, if you classify the soil on the basis of origin and formation, there are 2 soils. One is residual soil, in which weathering and development is taking place simultaneously. So the soil occupies the same area where the parent rock is present. The second is transported soil. That means weathering has taken place in one place and the soil has been transported to another place where it is fully developed. So on the transported soil, we have the alluvial soil in which water is the force of transportation, the colluvial soil in which the gravity is the force of transportation, the glacial soil in which the melting snow transports the soil, and the aeolian soil in which the wind transports the soil. Now after this, the third factor is the soil texture or physical structure of the soil. Now it depends upon the different properties like power of absorption, water holding capacity, and aeration. These determine the physical structure of the soil. Now it consists of different materials. The main mixture is divided into humus and mineral constituents. So humus occurs in flocks or aggregation. Now these influence the degree of aeration and water holding capacity of the soil. The coarser the humus, the more the drainage of the soil. The fungal and bacterial population is also present in the humus and it affects the soil flora. The minerals are also present. Now these minerals are particles of ultra microscopic soil size to particles of microscopic size. Now the concentration of these depends upon the state of dispersion and therefore affect the physical capacity of the soil. The diameter of 0.002 mm is the upper fraction of the clay fraction, and when it helps in the suspension of colloids, and which in turn cause flocculation. The remarkable property of the clay is that its plasticity when damp, and they adhere and stick together. So when they stick together, the soil becomes heavy and it becomes impervious to water. Now the oxygen content of the water table is also of great importance to the soil, aeration of soil. The water percolates through the soil and loses great proportion of its oxygen. And the stagnant water also is a cause of lack of oxygen and foul products are formed due to shortage of oxygen. In dry climates, the plants are very sensitive and to aeration and highly impervious. In very damp climates, the ordinary plants prefer soil with loose structure such as sand soil and molds of soil of temperate climate. Why? Because the oxygen structure is more in that soil. The aeration and drainage is also good. Now the water in the soil as in effect to climate and soil factor is discussed here. What happens? There is a hygroscopic. Now again in sandy soil the pore size is large and the water gets drained off. So it is called physically dry soil. So the power of solid particles to absorb water on their surface is called hygroscopicity. And now we have different types of water stored in the soil. Now they can be hygroscopic water, capillary water, and gravitational water. Chemically bound water. The hygroscopic water is referred to as very thin film around soil particles and it is generally unavailable to plants. The capillary water is present in between narrow capillaries in soil particles. Now this is the water which is absorbed by the plants, and it is of importance. The gravitational water is a water which flows down due to the influence of gravity. The chemically bound water is the water which is in the form of hydrated oxides of iron, aluminum, and silicon. Now, this water is also not available to the plants. Now we have the Hollard, Crisard, and Icard. Now, Hollard is total amount of water present in soil. Crisard is the amount of water available to plants, and Icard is the water not available to plants. So these are three types of water. Now we have soil temperature as a factor. Now what happens? The soil temperature, a plant growing in saturated soil with water may wilt if the temperature of the soil falls below certain degree, because at very low root temperature, the soil plant roots cannot absorb water. At very low temperature, there is a decrease in the rate of respiration, and hence the plant does not elongate. The uptake of mineral is also affected at low temperature, and the microbial activity is retarded at low temperature. So plants growing in cold soil mostly show prostrate growing habit, whereas plants growing in warm soils are slender and tall. The direct radiation from the heat is also affecting the soil components and texture. The dark colored soil absorb more heat. The sandy soils absorb more heat than compared to finer grained silt or clay. The mineral nutrients of the soil is an important factor for the growth of the plants. The total amount of minerals depend upon the nature of rocks from which they have formed and how the soluble products have leached away. On this basis, we have the acidic soil and the alkaline soil. The fertile soil is slightly acidic and the pH varies from 6 to 7. So pH is also an important role in determining the vegetation of the area. Organic matter. The organic matter has a very good influence on the vegetation of the growth, and it is responsible for the major growth of the plant. Now, dead or plant organs and animal bodies are important features for the organic component in the soil. Now we have litter, that is fresh dead organic matter, duff, that is last year's organic matter, and humus, that is the completely decomposed organic matter. So the importance of humus is it has very high water holding capacity, and the soil is of high quantity, shows high capacity of iron absorption. The inorganic components of the soil is made available by nutrients, and the soil particles form aggregates due to this humus. Aeration and porosity and percolation of the soil is also depending upon the humus present in the soil. Now the last factor in the edaphic factor is soil organism. Number of soil organisms include bacteria, fungi, algae, protozoa, nematodes, earthworms, etc. etc. Blue-green algae and bacteria are also important flora of the soil. They are fixing the atmospheric nitrogen and improving soil fertility. So they improve the soil structure and which benefits the plant. And as such, the nature of the soil is influenced by organisms present in soil because they are involved in various activities like antibiosis, decomposition of organic matter, and formation of soil and nitrogen fixation. So in the next lecture, we will be dealing with edaphic factors are over, and now we will be dealing with biotic factors. Now, biotic factors, we have already dealt in these few lectures with the abiotic factors. Now we will be dealing with the biotic factors. So students, I hope you are satisfied with my digital session, and if you have any query, please give in the comment box. This digital session was powered by 2.0 version of Jayoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. Thank you very much. Namaste.